you wanted to make this change or make a change in your diet is a small enough change to begin with. That's great. Matter of fact, you don't even have to worry about introducing any of the foods that we talk about besides one to as we move forward, because again, it's all about small changes and small progress, because these Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Soul and Grace podcast. I'm your host Danielle, and welcome to the podcast where we explore wellness, self-discovery, and all of life's beautiful complexities. Okay. I'm your host Danielle. I can't remember if I already said that or not, but hello and welcome in. How y'all doing? Y'all doing okay? Y'all doing all right out there? I know things are getting a little shaky out there. It's starting to look like they really wasn't playing about that TikTok ban, and yeah, we all got to find something else better to do, as if we don't already have enough to do. Before we get into today's episode, y'all already know, if you're not new here, how we go. Or the new thing we're trying to incorporate, I don't know what it is about burps and mics, but we are back. We are back with our self-love deck by We Are Not Really Strangers. And today we're picking from deck number 3, our future. What awaits us in our future? I don't know, but let me try to get one of these cards out. I did shuffle it for reference. Level 3, level 3, our future. Highly recommend getting this deck, because so far the questions have been amazing, and I've said it before and I'll say it one more time because your girl is not sponsored by them. I absolutely love this brand. We aren't really strangers, because they have created some great questions, and I think that, the art of conversation is slowly making a reappearance, but the pandemic really hurt us all a little bit. But yeah, so today our question is, what do you want to stop apologizing for? What do you want to stop apologizing for? That is the question, Oh, it does. Come on, Sony. What do you want to stop apologizing for? What do I want to stop apologizing for in the future? Because this is the future, so not right now. God. Honestly, I just hope and pray that I get better, which has been a work in progress for sure. I just hope and pray that I get better at keeping and holding my boundaries, which I'm super easy to cut things off, but being able to keep those boundaries long term, it has already set me up for some really just great space away from things that don't serve me. But yeah, I just hope that I can stop apologizing for, or apologizing really to myself about, like, not maybe feeling bad. I want to stop apologizing to myself about honoring my boundaries. That's what I would like, or I want to have mastered in the future. If we all master that, the world is yours. It's already yours, but it's yours for real. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into today's show. This is a super exciting episode. On today's episode, we will be discussing nourishing the mind, the body, and the soul, and our food and brain connection, because so often we're constantly being told what to eat, how not to eat, all of the things. Rarely, let me not say rarely, because the gut craze and trends and things and all of those things, Gut healing is very popular right now. It's very, very popular. But we can't forget about the brain. All of the organs have their own, systems and functions, but let's not forget about the brain. Our gut is very important. It plays a huge part, but let's not forget about our brain. So, what exactly is nourishing your mind? Nourishing your mind. And that simply means feeding your mind. But what exactly is the act? What exactly does feeding your mind mean? Now, we all know that food is more than just fuel for our bodies. It's so much. It's so much. It's cultural, it's emotional, and deeply personal for some of us. We all got our favorite foods. We all do. We have our things that we are attached to when it comes to food. But for women, food often carries the weight of tradition, survival, and even joy. But today, I wanted to focus on how we can use food as a tool and not only nourish our bodies, but also nourish our mental loads, or better yet, our mind and mental health. Let me explain. Now, if we oh god, so many things to touch back, and you'll see me referencing my notes and things if you're watching on the YouTube, but it's so much information, and I really tried to narrow it down and just talk about the important parts when it comes to not just nourishing our bodies, but nourishing our mind. So let's start with the basics. Did you know that what you eat has a direct impact on your mood, your energy levels, and your overall mental well being? Yes, that bag of hot Cheetos, I'm sorry, but it is gonna control some parts of your well being after you eat them. Science shows that our gut is often called our second brain because it produces neurotransmitters like serotonin, and about 90% of it is actually made in the gut. Your gut is just not that little thing that's just hanging and is stopping you from buckling your pants. The gut is much smarter and has much more power than we. Honestly, all of our organs have a real purpose than just what they seem. And the gut is a very important, very like I said, a second brain. Is very important to so many other bodily functions that are happening. So when we're eating foods that fuel our body, or we so-called think they fuel our body, because them hot Cheetos are not fueling that body, they fueling a fire in your gut, but they're not fueling our mind, so to speak. Remember, when you fuel your body, that you are also fueling your mind with what it needs. Matter of fact, when you think you got a taste for something, I know a lot of people think it's parasites and things, but sometimes our bodies tell us what we need in different ways, that we may not know, and then we give it something that it might not be asking for, but it kind of relaxes and chills out, I would say, for the bit. But yeah, think about this. Here's the thing: not all advice out there is tailored to what women need for brain health. It's just not, especially women of color, because I'm hoping that's who I reach with my brand. Specifically, women of color. We are not being, not that I know of. If you come across any studies, there are studies on some things, but as far as the wellness conversation goes, if you come across any articles, I'm always on the hunt for them, for the few that exist. Come across any articles or studies and things that are on the subject, or these studies and whatever it is focus more so on a group of women of color, please feel free to share them with me, because our unique health needs are important. And it's not that we have unique health needs, but what we eat and what other people eat is not the same. It's not a one size fit all. None of it is. I don't think we'll have enough time to talk about all of that in today's episode at all. I do not. But yeah, our unique health needs, cultural foods, and even the barriers we face accessing not necessarily fresh, but just better healthy options often go unaddressed. They do, or again, we are promoted what a lot of times is good, but it just does not really align with whether you look at it from a cultural aspect, you look about it from a native aspect, or you look about it or look at it from the point of, yeah, it's just probably not for you. Even though there are some things, and we'll talk about some foods later on in the episode that may not necessarily resonate with your culture, but they're amazing for your gut and your brain health. But yeah, let's discuss breaking down these imaginary barriers that are there, that somewhat exist, because I don't want to act like most of us, for the most part, we are exposed to good options. We just choose the other option. We choose convenience, and sadly, convenience is killing us. It's slowly killing us. It's keeping us super depressed. It's keeping us highly anxious, highly depressed, highly fogged in the, like brain fog, just all of these things is just not good for us. So yeah, let's talk about those barriers. For many women in the US, access to fresh, organic, or even diverse food options can be limited, or so presented. It is so presented because, for instance, I shop at King Super, which is Kroger for most places. That is a grocery store chain that supposedly only buys local, meaning that depending on what you believe in, it's always nice to eat local, because whatever, it was explained to me that for instance, like whatever allergens and things like that are native to the area, you kind of introduce it to your system so that you don't have any issues with it, or things like that. But the reality of it is, it doesn't have to be organic, because if it is local, it's good for you. If it is local, it is good for you. Nowadays, I'm even in the grocery stores, I'm just getting so frustrated because there is no difference besides the little twist tie that comes around the bunch of cilantro that says organic or non-organic. If it's truly local, and just to see how the prices and stuff are, just how all of that is just working out right now is absolutely insane. But it doesn't necessarily have to be organic if it's a local product. And again, regardless of if it's organic or not, the fact that you've decided that you wanted to make this change or make a change in your diet is a small enough change to begin with. That's great. Matter of fact, you don't even have to worry about introducing any of the foods that we talk about besides one to as we move forward, because again, it's all about small changes and small progress, because these small little changes are going to get us to where we need to be, and also ensure that they are implemented in our routine, in our lives, and really just ensure that it's implemented into your lifestyle. Because at the end of the day, if you chase it like a diet or you chase it like a fad, all of those things, there's no longevity in that. So you will not be dedicated to dedicated to it in the long run. And to think about your brain and your food and your gut health and all of those things, is like, if those things are not solved in if those things are not handled, they make a much bigger impact on your self-discovery journey than you actually think. Because if your brain is not functioning properly, it's not being fed the right nutrients or introduced to those things or whatever, it is pretty much misaligned with you. And if it's not aligned with you, it's definitely not aligned with your soul. So there are nothing but, I don't want to be dramatic, but there's nothing good to come from it. And not that you'll only get so far, but it's going to be a cycle a cycle we're purposely trying to avoid, running far, far away from it. So yeah, whether it's the lack of options in our communities or the high cost of healthy food, we might be doing a little bit better. But like I said, local is better. than having that organic label on there. There are so many easy routes, not for all farmers, but there are so many holes for, or maybe not even holes, because the farmers are telling us that, hey, I only got to wash this with this for it to be organic or not organic. Like, make the right decision for you. Make the right decision for you. Make the right decision for you. And plan. We'll talk about that stuff. And if you make it to the end of this video, there is a surprise for you. And when it comes to your health and your wellness, you have to realize it is never too expensive. It is never too expensive before you hit a hospital. Okay? Them hospital bills are nothing to play with. That's going to be more expensive than anything. It's going to be more expensive. One way to overcome this is by focusing on what is accessible and affordable. What's available to you. You do not need the fancy Whole Foods, even though they have things. You do not need the fancy health food store. Honestly, my favorite little store similar to that is Natural Grocers, and they are very affordable. And of course, it is pricey if you are going in there and looking at clean processed food. So you got to figure out how to make that switch. Start with what is available to you for now, okay? If that is the Mercado, I love a good Mercado because it's normally a lot more affordable, reasonable, and the quality is just about the same. And I also have more, I can get more like tropical fruits and stuff here and there, but I love a good Mercado. I love a good Aldi. Sadly, Colorado doesn't have that. Aldi's a little because their produce kind of is like you need to use it really fast. But yeah, start with what you have. For my audience that is convinced that they're completely priced out of the health realm to start with what's available for you now. So you have your Mercados, you have your Asian Marts. I love a good Asian Mart because again, the variety is unmatched, damn near the same quality, besides like certain fruits like berries. I don't know, I never buy those things because it seems like, quite honestly, in the Asian stores they kind of price a little bit more on that. But the Asian fruits and things that are available, they are reasonably priced, very reasonably priced, very good. And yeah, you just expose yourself to something new, a little different, change it up a little bit. Nothing wrong with that at all. When it comes to this next thing, I also want you to give yourself a little bit of ease because again, we're being marketed to like no other. Fancy supplements and fancy packaged processed foods, those things can wait. Not only do they run up your grocery bill, you really didn't need it. And honestly, a lot of the healthy stuff is not as good as it would be if you make it at home. So definitely seek making stuff at home too. You don't have to get it in the stores. You don't have to get it. And when it comes to supplements, if you are eating a well-balanced, nutritious meal 3 times a day, 2 snacks, all of those things, most of the time, you do not need 15 to 20 supplements every day. I'm sorry, you do not. A little multivitamin or something is great, but nothing beats getting your nutrients from your food. It's much easier and more than likely always digested by your gut. And when most of the time we already pairing what we need to pair together to digest anyways, and unless it's been declared by your doctor or something and you've done the testing and all of those things, don't just hop on the trends of buying whatever you see is there, because you may not need it and it may not show up as effectively as you would like it to, probably because you didn't need it or there are some other factors. But try to talk to your doctor and do the right testing or get the right testing done so you make sure you're not wasting your money and again just disappointing yourself and running up the grocery budget in tab. Don't do that. Don't do that. Mm-mm-mm. And another thing for my people that may listen to this, and you might say, oh, my area is this, and this, and I don't know. I may not have access to fresh fruits and vegetables as much. You start with the cans. Start with the cans. Nothing is wrong with that. Nothing is wrong with that. Shit, frozen, canned, anything. Incorporating a lot of those things that we see as low budget, low income, or whatever, they're actually really amazing for you. Incorporating beans, frozen vegetables, sweet potatoes, plantain, lentils, chickpeas. I'm telling you, um, all of those things are nutritious. They have so many benefits or nutritional benefits and so much life. So much life to give to your gut without breaking the bank. Don't look over those things. Now, I think you can find a canned sweet potato, but try not. Sweet potatoes and potatoes, they kind of be a little bit reasonable, so don't get that canned one. But all the other things I listed off are amazing, low budget, low price foods that people would think don't they make a difference. But all it is they were steamed and canned before you got access to it. So no big deal there. And then you know what? Let's not forget the power of reclaiming our cultural dishes. Like a lot of those things, a lot of our rice based dishes and things like that. Very beneficial, nutrient dense, and just overall balanced in a different way. It might not be in a colorful way, but again, it's about the small changes. And even if you're eating beans, rice, and chicken, and it don't look like you got a bunch of color, there's so much nutrients on your plate. There's so much life there on your plate that's not going to kill your gut or your brain health at all. We just have to make sure we make these small tweaks and don't over season your food or anything like that, because those things are messing with your sodium levels, and that too can really affect how your brain processes. Now, let's talk about mindful eating and the connection. Now, as we get into talking about the emotional and mindful side of eating, how often do you sit down and get a chance to savor your meal? How often do you? I'll wait. Because I'll tell you right now, as a mom, a bit, even before then, just being an entrepreneur on my own time, all of those things, kind of my own time. I've had my fair share of meals standing up. I I probably have one today, quite honestly. I just feel like I have to be on the move. Standing up. I'm in the kitchen. I'm a few feet away from the table, but I'm standing up. One thing I'm trying to master, and one thing that my future listeners and my audience will definitely learn to appreciate and master, is the value in slowing down and being able to be present and appreciate what is on your plate. You're not eating in your car, you're not standing up, you're not scrolling, you're not working, you're not watching TV, you're simply one with your meal. How often do you have that moments? How often? Too often. But we're changing that. We're going to change that. Literally, we're going to change that. And I want you to change it by trying this out, okay? Just try this out. Before you take a bite, take a deep breath and acknowledge the effort it took to bring that meal to your table. So whether that was finding the recipe, finding the right recipe, sourcing the right ingredients. Maybe you are thinking and reminiscing about the process of doing that. Very often, because I love to cook, I might see something on a cooking show, I might have scrolled across something, and my mouth just instantly starts watering, and I have to have it. I got to have it. I get to especially when you have a family and these things, a lot of times you are the last one to eat or sit down and eat, or you're just too busy cleaning up the kitchen to serve and make sure it's clean for once you're done eating. When I get to sit down by myself, I am scrolling a lot of times. Guilty, but that's something I want to change in 2025. I get to sit there and I just think, and I really do let the flavors kind of just come to, and I think about, oh, what if I would have did this? What if I changed this about my meal? I never realized how important that is to not only, obviously, this self-discovery ride, but the brain and food connection there, of not just simply being rushed, and forcing and scoffing the food down my throat and just all of those things. I never really considered that, but it is a huge blessing, from being able to thoroughly chew your food, to being able to savor every flavor, to make note of what you don't want to do the next time you make this recipe, to things you do want to do the next time you try this recipe. Take a deep breath and acknowledge the effort it took to bring that meal to your table. Whether you cooked it, bought it, or someone gifted it to you, you went through the drive-through. Hopefully we limit our drive-through trips this year. But yeah, that meal is a form of love and care. Cooking for yourself is especially in this day and time, it's just a very underrated thing about life. Being able to, one, to do it every day, that's not underrated. That, my friend, is life. It's so underrated to just be able to reflect on the meals we make. It is. And then also, when you consider, we used to have to go and catch, kill, skin, gut, clean, carry, if you didn't already carry it to where you're going to do that, like do all the other 7 steps, cut, cook, and remember, we didn't have fire at a certain time, like all of these things. And we don't have to do that now. We have the convenience of just being able to go to the grocery store or your yard or your garden or whatever it is, wherever you get food from. We have the convenience to just go grocery shop, bring it home, prep it, cook it, and voila, you have a meal. You have a meal. And you made it with love and care. The thing about sourcing your food from other places is, like, a lot of the times, and I had to realize that too, a lot of the times our food is passing through hands and being made by people who are overworked and stressed and depressed and highly anxious. And then we wonder why we feel like that a few days later, besides the fact, like, food combinations and all of that jazz. But we wonder why we feel not so good. Well, we're not really taking in what's best for us sometimes. Now, when they create the place I can go through the drive-thru and get a salmon plate and a side of some good grilled steamed vegetables and a pilaf rice, that's all I'll be good. I will be great. Now, once they create that, maybe we'll look back at being able to be a drive-through person. But right now, we're trying to detach from those things and the convenience. Honestly, I can't really eat anything fast food because of the gluten and all the other non-real ingredients, but mostly the gluten thing. But yeah. Not to mention, 85% of the time, the food that I make at home is so much better. I can't really think of something that I've made at home that wasn't much better in a restaurant besides burgers. And I say burgers in a whole because nothing beats a char grilled burger. And most places don't really have that, but like a nice fried top. I don't know what you call that, flat top. Yeah, a nice flat top, crusty burnt burger. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we're changing that. We're changing that. Yeah, my food be good, incredibly freaking good. And then there's like I'm trying to master other hard desserts to make this better, to make this journey so much more better. It's just so much better at home, and there's so much more love, and there's so much more love and care in the preparation. No one's down my back about getting fed or about me needed to take a break or whatever comes with being in the kitchen. I know it's very busy and overwhelming. Very, very overwhelming, I would imagine. Mindful eating isn't always just about the food. It's about building a better relationship with ourselves. And when we approach our meals with gratitude, we're not just nourishing our bodies, we're nourishing our souls. We're nourishing our souls. Feeding yourself better food or at least one better meal a day will do so much for your overall well-being. And maybe you will notice, maybe you won't. Maybe sleeping patterns or or active patterns and just your daily patterns, they all change. Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Before we close out Soul Search, I wanted to discuss a few foods that support mental health. These are accessible, affordable options you can start incorporating today, whether however you want to, wherever you want to put it, however you want to incorporate it into your meals. These are super easy and, again, easily accessible and available in season items for you. Okay, so number one on the list is going to be leafy greens. Leafy greens. Okay, green leafy greens. Green. I can't emphasize that enough. Green. I know a lot of people think, oh, I'm just taking my chlorophyll and that's good enough. No, you need to eat some greens too. Make you a little pot of collard greens. It's gonna last you about a week if you ain't tired of eating them by day 2. But if you are, then you're not really from the South. And I know. I don't know. I kind of feel like if you can't eat a pot of greens for a week, your mama didn't raise you right. But that's my prerogative. But yeah, number one on the list, leafy greens. I love to eat kale and collard greens as my top 2 favorites. And really what I realize is not my top 2. The other one I really love is arugula, which is also really high in folates. And these things are packed with folate to support the brain, which is very important. One of the things that I will do in the future, because in this episode we won't really discuss it as much, is just discussing what exactly these things do for the brain. But leafy greens for folate to support the brain function. Like I said, my favorite is arugula. Amazing. But you could do microgreens, whatever, if you don't have access to those. But everyone has some type of access to kale, collard greens. Spinach is another good one. Number 2, fatty fish like salmon or sardines. These are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, and those pretty much help reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. Now, I loved a can of sardines growing up with a little hot sauce, maybe a lot. Couple of dashes of Louisiana hot sauce. I love that growing up. I really did. But sardines are really good for you. What's another good canned one? Sardines. I think you can find canned mackerel. There's also, God, why am I not? Maybe because I'm just thinking of sardines and like olive oil or something like that. But aim for something like that, or get the sardines in water. It's so interesting, and like I said, we won't dive too much into it in this episode, but I will come back with another episode where we discuss all of these different things like folates, omega-3s, and all of those things. Number 3 on the list is whole grains like quinoa and brown rice. They help to stabilize your blood sugar and mood. What more could you want? What more could you want? I know a lot of people have different thoughts, especially if you're following like an alkaline diet or something like that. But if you are on an alkaline diet, you can try some of the older grains like a teff, a farro. Barley is also a really good one if you have no wheat allergies or anything like that, which I don't think it really affects that, but something to look into if you do have a wheat allergy before trying barley. Number 4 on the list is fermented foods. Fermented foods. And I know if you're a person that looks like me, you like, what do black people eat that is fermented? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that part out because it's not really something in a lot of our native history, but I do want to know what indigenous Americans ate that was fermented. That's a good question. That's a good question. I'm gonna look into fermented foods like kimchi or your yogurts. We all love yogurt, so that's one that people that live with me. If you don't want to try the kimchi, the sauerkraut, kombucha, and things like that, yogurt, can never go wrong with that. There are plenty of options for plant-based people, and there are plenty of options for my dairy people. There really are. Last on the list is gonna be berries. Berries. They are amazing. They're a little pricey right now. We could finish them in a day. Berries are amazing for your brain health. They are amazing. They're loaded with antioxidants to fight inflammation and also boost brain health. Berries just are amazing for our body. They are so amazing. I will make sure to put just a detailed everything here. And like I said, I will be coming back with another episode of just going over all those things. If you don't know what inflammation is, maybe you don't know what antioxidants are. Okay, let's talk about that. Ooh, I want to go back to fermented foods really quick. If you don't like kimchi but you like the sour taste, go with sauerkraut. Go with sauerkraut. Go with sauerkraut. Go with sauerkraut. It's so good. Oh, it's so good. And the best way to explain it is like if you like pickles, it's pickled cabbage, but it's fermented. Oh, I got like a little hair or something on me. Fermented cabbage, and it's great. It's great. Don't feel like you have to overhaul your diet overnight, okay? Just because you ate all of these things, yes, a big change in it, but you might have a big poo too if you try to if you try to introduce your body to all of that at one time. So be wise. Be very wise. Start small. Maybe it's swapping out a sugary drink or snack for some fresh fruit or adding an extra serving of veggies to your dinner. Progress is so much better than perfection, okay? It is. Little tweaks. Maybe this upcoming week you add yogurt to your diet if you don't already eat yogurt. God, I don't think I ever met anyone that doesn't like yogurt. That is something that has always been in the food pyramid, even though it's upside down. Let's see, for a sugary snack, what would I swap? Immediately think out how people are like, that's not chicken, like for fried mushrooms for vegans and stuff, because it's not chicken. It's amazing deep fried, but it's not chicken. What I would do as someone who is trying to eliminate sugar or just make a small swap, I would swap plain sugar for date sugar. Or say if I needed just like a late night snack, and my late night snack is normally like chocolate, some type of Hershey chocolate bar or something, I would swap it to chocolate dip something, like a nice dark chocolate chip. You melt it down, of course, and I would dip dates into the chocolate because dates are super sweet. They're also really amazing for your body and brain health too. But I would do something like that. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just throwing it out there. Before we close out today's episode, what's one small step you can take this week to nourish your mind through food? Maybe it's trying a new recipe, being more mindful at mealtime, because you're going to sit down, and even if you need to scroll through some healthy things, happy, positive things. Don't scroll through the funny videos. I know we all do it. We are all addicted to it, but try to do some reading, maybe listen to an audiobook. I've been liking to just pretend like I'm at a restaurant and I'll turn on my jazz lo-fi music and set the mood. Major freaking game changer, because of course I would love to go eat at a restaurant every single day, but to be completely honest, besides it just being unrealistic, it's it's just not that good all the time. Turn your kitchen or your dining room into the restaurant. Create the vibe, light some candles, get you some type of mood lights. I have mood lights in my whole house. The LED candle lights or something. Well, I have to put those in my Amazon storefront. I will, or somewhere. I'll just be wanting to share it because, again, these things have helped me. So I would imagine mood lighting in your, like, ambient lighting in your house is just a vibe everywhere. And I got it everywhere. Not playing, everywhere. It might be sitting down or simply drinking more water. Whatever it is, I want you to remember you are worthy of care, love, and proper nourishment. Okay? From the inside out. Remember that song, Beauty Only Skin Deep? That's not how it went, but beauty's only skin deep. And that is very true. And sometimes your beauty is a little messed up because your gut is crying from the inside out. If you have a lot of hormonal acne or frequent acne and things like that, look at your diet. Look at your stress levels and stuff too, but mostly focus on your diet. And once you focus on your diet and you make a few small changes, watch how your skin, your mind, your body and soul, all of those things, they just start to act accordingly. Almost like it's just crazy how it really turns on. But nourishment, it is not just from the outside, it's inside out. So don't forget that. If this episode resonated with you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. That will never not be a freaking mouthful, but I never want to forget to say it. If you made it to the end of this video, please look below and click that link in the description box. There's a surprise there for you. There's no possible way that I could have an episode about food and not push Soul and Grace's first cookbook. Go ahead and click the link in that description box for a special gift to you and your brain. And yeah, enjoy this free copy of Soul and Grace's first cookbook dedicated to the mind, body, and brain connection of food. As we close out today's episode, what's one small step you can take this week to nourish your mind through food? What's one small step? Maybe it's trying a new recipe, being more mindful at mealtime, like actually sitting, don't doom scroll, or if you are going to doom scroll, try to make it less doomful. Try to scroll the STEM side of TikTok if you're still on there. Watch a podcast. Try to do something that is actually meaningful, or try to take in some content that's actually meaningful to the moment. Whatever it is, I want you to remember you are worthy of care, love, and proper nourishment from the inside out. Beauty is only skin deep, so never forget that. We got to heal what's on the inside to make sure it comes from the outside. That's not just spiritually. It's not just, not mindfully, not just like this mind body connection, but it also is inside out, and it's for our food, nourishing our bodies. If you have a lot of skin issues or anything like that, what are you eating? It could possibly be that. If you made it to the end of this episode, congratulations to you. There is a special gift waiting for you inside of the description box. Okay, this is a special gift to start your brain and food connection journey, or better yet, revamp it, because you've been eating, you probably just haven't been eating as well as you could have been, and that's okay. Again, small tweaks for long-lasting habits. Okay, lasting habits to revamp our lives and get us where we need to be, or where we want to be. Better yet, I got to get out of the habit of saying where we need to be, where we want to be, where we want to be, where we want to be. I created the first of many Soul and Grace cookbooks dedicated to this subject. Go ahead and click the link below to get your free copy today. And I hope you all enjoy. Thanks for listening to another episode of the Soul and Grace podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to join the family, join the community, and come on back to this safe space for you and me to love on self unconditionally. Bye.